In today's video, we are going to cover summary of chapter 4. Let's start. The history of taxes and the power of corporations. Chapter summary. Many people see Robin Hood as a hero taking from the rich dad and giving to the oh sorry taking from the rich and giving to the poor. Rich dad did not share that opinion. He called Robin Hood a crook. Though the popular sentiment is that rich should pay more in taxes and give to the poor, in reality it is the middle class that is heavily taxed, especially the educated upper income middle class. To understand how this happens, Robert gives a brief history of taxes in England and America. Originally, there were no taxes, only occasional temporary levies to pay for such things as wars. In 1874, England made income tax a permanent levy on its citizens. In America, the land war a tax on tea led to the Boston Tea Party protest and helped ignite the Revolutionary War. The adoption of the 16th Amendment in 1930 was an income tax permanent. These countries were able to get taxed accepted by the majority because they were first levied only against the rich. However, although income tax was designed to punish the rich, it would up punishing those who had voted for it, the poor and the middle class. Rich dad explained that he and poor dad were opposite. Poor dad, as a government employee, was rewarded if he spent money and hired people, making his organization larger. But for rich dad, the fewer people he hired and the less money he spent, the more he was respected by his investors. And the government grows, so does the amount of tax dollar needed to support it. Poor dad sincerely believed the government should help people. He and Robert's mom worked for the Peace Corps and training voluntaries to go to Malaysia, Thailand, and the Philippines. They were always seeking more grants and budget income so they could hire more people. For Robert, it was a challenge to work for one of the biggest capitalists in town and go home to a prominent government leader. It wasn't easy to know which dad to believe. But over time, as Robert studied the history of taxes, he saw an interesting perspective. As the government appetite for money grew, taxes soon needed to be levied on the middle class, and from there it kept trickling down. But the rich saw an opportunity because they don't play by the same set of rules. Corporations, which become popular in the days of sailing ships, offered a way around taxes. Understanding the legal corporate structure gave the rich a steep advantage and allowed them to outsmart the intellectuals. The government ideal is to avoid having excess money. If you fail to spend your allotted funds, you risk losing it in the next budget. Business people, on the other hand, are rewarded for having excess money and are applauded for their efficiency. And as the government continued its ideal and spent more and more money, more taxes, this time on the middle class, and eventually the poor were needed. A corporation is simply a legal document that creates a legal entity. It is not really a thing, not a factory or a group of people, but it offers a lower income tax rate than individuals have, and certain expenses can be paid by a corporation with pre-tax dollars. If those who get up and go to work at their jobs and pay taxes could only understand the way the rich play the game, they could too. The problem is the harder you work in a job, the more you must pay the government. The taxes ends up punishing the very people who voted them. In attempts to punish the rich rarely work because the rich find ways to minimize their tax burdens. One such way is Section 1030 of the Internal Revenue Code, which allows a seller to delay paying taxes on a piece of real estate that is sold for a capital gain through an exchange for a more expensive piece of real estate. As long as you keep trading up in value, you won't be taxed on the gains until you liquidate. Those who don't take advantage of these savings are missing a chance to build their asset column. In all the years Rich Dad was guiding Robert, he was trying to teach him the knowledge is power, and with money comes great power that requires the right knowledge to keep it and made it multiply. Without that knowledge, the world pushes you around. The tax man is a bully who will always take more if you let him. Don't let him by making your money work for you. Smart tax consultants and attorneys are worth their cost as it's still cheaper than paying the government. It's expensive to not know the law. in his mid 20s when he was just out of the Marian Corps and working for Xerox. Robert was disappointed by how much was taken out of the paychecks. It motivated him to form his first corporation in 1974 and work harder at his day job to amass as much money as possible to invest in real estate. He became one of the top salesmen at Xerox and in less than 3 years was making more in real estate holding corporation than he was at Xerox. His company bought him his first Porsche, proof that the plan was working. The lesson he learned from the rich dad helped him break out of the proverbial rat race at an early age, and he wants to help others do the same. Financial IQ or financial intelligence is what makes that possible. It's made up of four things: accounting, investing, understanding markets, and the law. Understanding those legal advantages is profound when it comes to long-term wealth. For instance, a corporation can pay expenses before paying tax, whereas an employee get taxed first and must try to pay expenses on what is left. Board meetings in Hawaii, car payments and insurance and health club membership can be pre-tax expenses for a corporations. Also offer legal protection from lawsuits. When someone sues a wealthy individual, they are often met with layers of legal protection and often find that the wealthy person actually owns nothing. They control everything, they own nothing. Robert asks those who own legitimate assets to find out more about corporations' benefit and protections. Garrett Sutton's books are among many that can help. In summary, business owners with corporations earn, spend taxes, pay taxes. Employees who work for corporations earn, pay taxes, then spend. And thanks for watching. Bye.